Today we're going to have a look at an interesting set of pens, calligraphy pens. One pen, couple of nibs, and I know that's not for everyone, so this review may not work for everyone, but if you're interested in calligraphy or if you're interested in improving your handwriting, I think calligraphy is a very good way to do that. This may be interesting. This set of pens we're going to talk about is the Rotring art pen, and it was sent to me by Goldspot. Thank you very much. I've received a lot of review requests for this set, so I'm very happy this way I can review it. I'm going to talk about the pen, cover the parts of the pen, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then we'll do a writing sample. Now the box, I haven't very prettily arranged it, but this is the box. Simple cardboard box with a window, clearly that if when you buy it, this little instruction manual isn't right there, but you know, I just put it together. More interesting are the contents of the box. Interestingly enough, when you take off the cardboard sleeve, there is an actual plastic storage box which you can use to store the pen and all the parts, which I think is very nice, because this is the type of pen that you put in a desk and you use, and you may want to switch nibs. I'll come back to that in a second. So nice set, and nice that you have this storage. It even comes with Rotring. It doesn't look horribly cheap as a box, so that's kind of nice. Okay, sorry about this wrinkling. But it comes with a little information pamphlet. Comes with a box. I'm not going to open it, but in here are 6 black cartridges, standard international short, simple cartridges, works well, but nice that it comes with that 6, because 6, that's quite a bit of ink. You can definitely do some calligraphy with that. Then we have the actual pen, yeah, and it comes with 2 extra sections and caps, which I have here, and I'm a little careful because there's some ink in it, so I'm not going to swing them around too much. The best way to do this kind of review is wearing a white t-shirt after all. So you have 2 sections, very carefully going to open one, a section and a cap. Alright, so you get 3 sections, 3 caps, 1 barrel. Okay. Pen, parts, let's have a look. I'm not going to show you the other 2 sections because they're the same, they're just a different nib, right? At the top of the cap, and this is bonus points, is the millimeters of the nib. That's great, because that means that when you have these 3 things inked, you can tell exactly what nib is which without having to open it, take off the cap, look at the nib. You can immediately see it. That's a good idea. I really like that. Then we have the clip, simple clip. This is not the type of pen you're going to put in a breast pocket, of course, because it's very long, it's going to stick out. That doesn't really make sense, but there is a clip should you want to put it in a pen pouch or whatever, or what do you call that, a brush, a roll for brushes or something, artistic purposes. Very flexible clip, and the clip says Rotring. Then we have the Rotring, right, it's a red ring, so that's right there. Barrel, as you can see, tapers down strongly, and then you have a little white thing at the end. Clearly, this thing is inspired a bit by dip pens, right? In its shape, a dip nib holder. We have a section, ribbed, and a 2.3 millimeter nib. No breather hole, just a slit and a feed. Okay. Unscrewing this, I put in a Visconti converter, but it's just standard international, so a lot of standard international converters should fit. As you can see, there is quite some space in the barrel. It tapers at the right spot, so you can actually fit in a converter, which is great, because that means you can use bottled ink. Now, I haven't tried this with ink, I have tried this with water. It looks like this is an airtight or watertight barrel, so you could eyedropper it. And for a calligrapher, that may be interesting, because this holds a lot more ink than this, let alone a small international cartridge. So if you do a lot of calligraphy, that may be a worthwhile option, but as I said, I haven't tried it with ink. I tried it with water, I closed up the pen, there was no leakage, it seemed to work fine, but as is, okay? A large pen, right, longer barrel, section, comfortable, simple, ribs, and that's all there's to it. So simple design, all plastic, very light, feels plasticky, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It is comfortable. It's matte. There's a tiny bit of texture to the barrel. It doesn't feel super smooth. I think it's a nicely made pen. Okay, what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, first of all, you get 3 nibs, which for calligraphy is nice, right? Yes, the ultimate in calligraphy is dip nibs. Yes, we all know that, but they corrode. You have to keep dipping, even with ink reservoir. So sometimes a fountain pen is just easier. It's just the way it is. No flex, easy, especially for practice, because you don't have to dip and write and dip and write. You can just keep writing. So I like that. You get 3 nibs. You get a 1.5mm nib, a 1.9mm nib, and the 2.3. 2.3 is nice because that is a really broad nib that you don't get in a lot of calligraphy sets. I'll come back to that in a second. So I like that. I like the way the pen is shaped. It's comfortable. As I said, it feels plasticky, but it's very light. And for long calligraphy sessions, that is probably nicer than a very heavy holder, just because it would wear out your hand, your wrist, etc. So I think that's nice. I really like 2 things about the cap scenario. One is that they made the sections cappable without being attached to the barrel. So that actually snaps in place. So you can store your sections, especially if you use cartridges or converters. You can leave those in, you can put the cap on, and they won't dry out because they're capped. No pen should be left inked for weeks without using it, but if you are switching around, that's great because the nib won't dry out and you can immediately start writing. And my experience has actually been pretty good. All of these nibs write pretty consistently. Okay, some of the nibs I have used, calligraphy nibs, are very dry. My experience with the Lamy Joy set, for example, was that those nibs, especially the really broad 1.9mm nib, was that it runs dry. It's a lot of ink demand for a nib, and for some reason I had issues with that. Whereas this 2.3mm nib, which is actually a bit broader than that nib, really seems to write consistently and doesn't run dry very easily. So I was quite impressed by that. Now, as I said, 2 things I like about this capping scenario. So one is that you can cap the section and store it for a short time. The second thing is that they labeled the caps, so you can immediately see which nib is which, and that's great because that means you don't have to fiddle around. I think the Lamy Joy, I don't have anything against the Lamy Joy stuff, but just as a comparison, it's kind of a similarly shaped pen. Also comes with 3 nibs. It comes with a sort of little rubber thing you can put on the nib to cap it, but there's no indication of which nib is which. So this is really great. I really like that. So eyedropper fill, as I said, is nice. I like the way it's made. Simple and it works. Now, things I don't like so much, there aren't that many. It feels plasticky. It feels a bit cheap. It's the way it is. Okay, that's just the way it is. Another thing, that the name-giving phenomenon here, the Rotring, the red ring, actually comes off. And that's, if you switch around a lot, I mean, it's in there fairly securely, but it does come off. And I can see how if you switch them around a lot, maybe that becomes a little looser. Is it really a big deal? Well, not really, but I know that could have been, I think, maybe they could have somehow made that a little tighter, and it's all black with 1 red piece, so to make that a separate piece makes sense, but you know, it can come off. Having said that, beyond that, I don't really have a lot of complaints. The nibs write, they write well, they're pretty wet and consistent, they don't really seem prone to drying out. You can eyedropper the pen set. You have labeled caps that actually shut off the sections when you don't use them. That's all pretty positive. And the best part of all, I found, is that the set currently at Goldspot is $48.05. So let's call it $50. You get 3 nibs, 3 caps, a good barrel. I think that's a fairly good deal. And just to draw a bit of a comparison, I quickly looked up. There is, of course, there's some competition in the field of calligraphy sets. So there is that Lamy Joy set or the Al Joy set, but I'm talking about the Joy. So the plastic barrel right now comes with 3 nibs, 1.1, 1.5 and 1.9 millimeters. So with this one you get 1.5, 1.9 and 2.3. The Joy set costs $40, so it's a little cheaper, but you don't get the wider 2.3 millimeter nib. There's the Kaweco Sport set, the calligraphy set, which has 1.1, 1.5, 1.9 and 2.3, so that actually comes with 4 nibs. That's $70, but it comes with an extra nib. And then finally there's the Schaefer calligraphy set, which has the 1.5, 1.9 and 2.3 millimeter nibs, and that is $50. So price-wise, I don't think this set is that horribly marketed. I think that's a reasonable price for what you get. Okay, that's about the pen. Pictures of the pen, as well as measurements, will be on the website, sbrebrown.com. Again, I thank Goldspot for sending me the pen set. I appreciate it, especially because this is so highly requested. I really received a lot of requests to review this, so that's great. We need to see how these nibs write. That's what's coming up next. I hope this was useful so far, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Okay, so here we go with the Rotring Art Pen. I'll try to do a quick show off of all 3 nibs, so I won't write with all these nibs for too long. So just to start, this is the Rotring Art Pen. This is the 1.5 millimeter nib, and the ink is it's a Kobe ink. Sui do Suji. That's the best I can make of this. I'm sorry, I don't speak Japanese. Marche Bleu. Alright? So, the issue with these pens, of course, is that I don't think a lot of people would really use these for everyday writing and grocery lists. So, normal writing like this, cursive, is not really its intended purpose. As you can see, it does this, but it's not really what it was meant to do. So, of course, there's all sorts of calligraphic styles that you could utilize. I mean, am I doing masterful calligraphy here? No, I'm just trying to quickly show off the properties of the nib. As you can see, the 1.5 does offer a nice bit of line variation, and is definitely suited for smaller type calligraphy, including, I mean, that was a Gothic type style. But you could also do more foundational or other stuff, right? Okay, I have the same ink in every nib, so there should be no confusion, but let me just switch. That was the 1.5. Here we go with the 1.9. You have to give me a second here because I have to change the sections and put the converter in, etc. So here you would have the 1.9. It seems a bit more saturated, but of course you do get a bigger nib, more line variation. And I'll try to do that same thing again that I did up there. I should make that a little bigger, but as I said, I'm not trying to do world-class calligraphy here. I'm just trying to show off the properties of the nib a bit. So, as you can see, you get a nice bit of line variation out of this, and can definitely do some larger style calligraphy with this. Should be a bit bigger than that, but just to give you an idea. Okay, then there is the final nib, which is the 2.3. That is my favorite nib in this set, because I I like larger nibs, broader nibs, and if I do calligraphy, I typically do larger stuff. I'm not really good at the super small stuff, nor am I really good in the larger stuff, but one tries. Clearly you blast through ink with nibs this width. I'm trying to do this to show you that at this point normal handwriting starts to suffer, so you need to make that a bit bigger. But I'm trying to also make it a bit comparable. You blast through ink, so this is starting to run a little low already, but I think I can manage to finish it. And you really need to go up in the size of your writing here, because otherwise it's just going to look, well, even more horrid than this. And I'll just do the dog. I don't know why I picked dog, probably because of the quick brown fox. My memory was primed. But this, as you can see, definitely allows for larger style calligraphy. Like that. So there you have it. Very interesting set and very pleasant. As you can see, good consistency. The converter is starting to run low here, but even so, there is still a lot of line variation to be had. I think it's a very nice set. So there'll be a picture of this on the website, of course. And that's all there's to it. So a thank you to Goldspot for sending me the pen. I'm actually mixing calligraphic styles, but I appreciate it. For all of you calligraphers out there, I hope this was a useful overview, and that's all there's to it. I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.
Bye.